I'm always accused of doing the most, being the most, and that just follows me. Yeah. So.
I'll give you another story of being the most. Okay, I
Oh
got
yeah.
married. I got married.
Oh,
And
that.
have you ever known a gentleman to come in and do five costume changes at a wedding?
What's up, peoples? It's your bartenders, Mr. Z.
And your boy Omega.
We interrupt this month's scheduled programming to bring you Q-nnect the Shots as we step back from education and entertain you all with wild stories from our returning guests, Carmichael and Gary, about our incredibly special guest, Kieu Grisby. As every episode, we want to thank all of you for listening. We truly appreciate you listening to our hearts and minds on varied and difficult topics.
Special thank you goes out to our Patreon subscribers for their support of the show. Every little bit helps us reach our goals to invite more high-profile guests and create bonus content.
And if you want to join in our conversation outside of this cast, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at HaveADrinkCast, and make sure to use that hashtag HADcast.
Remember, this is always a conversation. If you don't agree, you want to voice your opinions, or even suggest a topic for an episode, feel free to join our Discord as well. The link will be in the description.
And please, if you like what we're doing here, share us with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Heck, buy a ham radio and see if you can't broadcast us to a few truckers, or even the past. Your referrals mean a lot to us, as that's how we gain more listeners. So,
Thank you again.
and get prepared to sit
Think.
and have a drink.
Welcome to Have a Drink podcast. Enjoy the episode.
We said peace. What's up, peoples, and welcome back to another episode of the Have a Drink podcast, where we invite you to sit, think, and have a drink. We're your bartenders, Mr. Z.
And I'm your boy Omega.
Hey.
And we got a couple of returning guests. We have the great kid Carmichael Simon, and we also have the great Gary Robles.
Hey. And we have a very special guest for the first time on here.
First time?
I know. I'm surprised that we haven't had him on sooner, but the amazing H.A.D. Kieu Grisby. He is an amazing artist. I've known him for I've known him probably as long as my tiny human has been alive, so about almost 7 years. Met performing, and like, when I say performer, entertainer, like it doesn't just stop at one thing. You know, you have singer, actor, dancer, choreographer, visionary, fashionista. Where are we going? Director. How far do we want to go? Like, just an amazing, wonderful, sweet human being, genuine person, and I'm thankful to be able to bring you on our show. So, hey, give it up. Me, meow.
All right. So, gentlemen, it is so great to have you guys here with us this evening. How's everybody doing?
We live in day by day.
Beautiful, beautiful. Keep
Hey.
on doing that too, please. We love having you.
Fantastic. So today we wanted to have this episode be more of a connecting the dots, or as the title says, connecting the shots, because we wanted to be able to bring our worlds together, because we know each other. Hey, know each other separately. I know a few of us have like connections. I hadn't met Carmichael until this podcast, and I've known Q and Gary for quite a while, and of course, I mean, Omega and I are inseparable. So, thank y'all.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thanks
So,
for having us. Yeah, thank you very much
now,
for having all of us together. This is quite a unique union right here. Whether you viewers out there realize it or not, this is a very unique union right here.
it's going to be fun. Strap in, y'all. It's about to be a wild ride. All right. So, first of all, this is very multicultural. Very multicultural. And
Yeah,
that's
it
the
is.
beauty of it. And this is the beauty of the Bay Area. And I really want to point that out, is how different this panel is, where everybody comes from, how everybody is amazing. And that's what I really want you guys to understand. And I'm saying this because we have people that probably don't watch the video but are listening to it. I want you guys to really get this. This is a very diverse panel of gentlemen right here. And some of these guys are wearing matching shirts. This is pretty impressive. They definitely planned this.
No, we didn't. Of course not.
Never would do that. Hey, are we missing someone?
Yeah, one of our gentlemen is actually on the grind right now. He's doing his job.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? It looks like we're gonna have to schedule another show just to get him. Gotta get
most definitely. But he did have a message. I actually talked to him when I did let him know that we were gonna be on, and he wanted me to let everybody know that the crew and everybody, us getting together just like this. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us, but he wanted to let us know it's about making time for each other. That was his message, to make time for each other.
I love it. And that's important, making time.
That's all we have, gentlemen.
Yep.
It is time.
Yep.
There you go.
It's the most valuable thing we have. Yes.
It's the one thing that everybody wants more of, but doesn't know how to use it when they have it.
2020 was a very good testament to that. One of the first things I thought of as we were, being locked down was how many times I've heard someone say, "Oh, I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to go there. I don't have time to read this. I don't have time to put my energy into that." And I said, you know what? One day we're going to look back at this segment of life and look at the many times we said, "I don't have time," and then ask ourselves, did we use our time most efficiently when when the whole world was on pause?
It forced us all to be present.
Yes.
Everybody had to live in that moment. Nobody could escape the moment. And that's a big deal, is the fact that we don't know how to live in the moment anymore because we're always worried about tomorrow and how we can occupy every moment of today just to survive and see what's going to happen tomorrow, as opposed to enjoying the moment today to have a brighter tomorrow.
I mean, y'all said it perfectly. Like, I mean, it forced us to be here now, it forced us to experience now, to understand that, as much as you're used to this go instant gratification lifestyle, this is very much not going to be that. This is very much a delayed gratification, stay at home, and this is going to be everything closed down until we get to that point, because we're working hard to get there. But everybody's got to either stay at home or be out in the trenches of everything, of like the workforce,
Right.
because certain things had to still keep rolling. Mail still had to go out, food still had to be made, people still had to be taken care of who were sick, just a lot of things. Gas needed to be filled. Like, everybody had a little part to play,
I learned social selection during this time. And time is really of an essence coming to visit you guys. And I think one thing that you guys have spent time with me was out of just love, pure love, and knowing that, the time I got to see you during this quarantine time was, we knew we were all going to maintain safety and be safe around each other. And that was important, because the time was more beneficial to know that you had a selection of friendships that you love and you've done work with, and you've maintained safety, and that this is why we are here, because we were able to actually continue our relationship during a time when we were supposed to be separated.
That's very true. And the other thing too is it brought a lot out of people, good and bad. So it was very interesting at how, and I mean, I'm sure you guys can attest to hearing this. Everybody's like 2020, the year of vision, the year of vision. And when that happened, everybody was thinking positive vision, but not realizing it was not just vision, but it was clarity of seeing yourself and others. And how is your real relationships? Do you really have relationships or do you have acquaintances?
Mm.
Do you have people that you're blood related to, but you really don't relate to them? Like that's what this last year was all about. And it was crazy to me. But you know what? It also taught me a lot about myself. And I was able to find a lot of clarity within myself, within my relationships, and within the people that I surround myself with. You know, whether we have different views or opinions, that didn't change me. It changed my way of thinking and reacting to people. And I started to notice a lot of people don't have these skills. And that's the sad part. They don't have these skills. So, sorry, let me get off my soapbox.
Oh well, we was listening. Go ahead, bro. Preach.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's just really where I was at with it. You know, like everybody's heard this one. You know, if you come out of this pandemic and you don't have a business, then you wasted your time. And I thought about that, and I was like, that's kind of not fair. Not everybody's meant to own a business.
Right.
But
Correct.
what it is was this time was about you regrouping and focus on you as a business and what you
Even
bring to business.
Focused on handling business.
or just building yourself up, you know, like building you, like whatever that means, your whatever your vision is, whatever your structure that you want, your foundation for the type of family that you're looking to have, whatever it is.
100%.
Another four-letter word we've been speaking about. You know, you guys just talked about time. We talked about work, safe. You know, it's the gift. The gift was greater than the gossip, and that's what you guys were able to see. Like I'm only having a conversation with what I've had my conversations with you guys independently about, and I've watched you guys like work your gifts and have gone through some. I won't even say ups and downs, but it's more of like you've been put in situations and pulled out of situations, but you guys always harnessed your gifts. And you guys were able to reutilize your gifts in a way that now you guys are actually producing yourself rather than spending the time producing other people.
Right.
Which is the gossip, like people trying to get on your feeds and DM sliding on you and trying to get the network of who you need to know when you guys are actually the talent. You know, you guys are the time, you guys are the work, you know, you guys are love for me. And I just want to share that because that's where it connects this whole conversation. It's about that is, you know, that gift over the gossip of what we've learned in this really 2 decades of relationships times three people, you know, three different combinations. You know what I mean? Like we all have conversed like the power of three right here is it's amazing because somehow, somewhere we've all connected, but we may have not been in the same room and we may have not always shared the same stage together. But the influence of that gift was powerful.
Very true. Very true.
Very much so.
You know, it was kind of cool too, is to see through this time is I got to hear Q sing again.
Q did kung fu in China.
He did. He did.
That
That like
sorry for cutting the singing part of it, but I had, you know, you got to
no
pull
no
it
no.
back because it roots. It kind of the physical piece roots, and it roots vocally, and your consciousness
Yeah.
exudes when you train kung fu.
I am the last dragon.
It was cool. The reason why I said I got to hear Q sing again is because I remember when he was at my house and we talked about Eric Benet in the car. And I got to hear him sing that song by Eric Benet, and to hear him really go back to when that song influenced him. When you can hear somebody's true influence and when they go back to that moment, there's a purity in their voice and their gift just shining through. It was truly amazing. I would say I'm surprised he didn't get pulled over because of all the light that was exuding out of him at that moment in the car. And that's why when I got to hear him singing again and see him being able to slow down and get back and reconnect with the world again through his vocal talents and get to see my brother and speak to him again. It was very amazing to where I couldn't focus on the negative aspects of this time. I just see the positivity, to see the growth of Z from the lowest of lows at times to look at this brother soaring and flying high. I'm surprised he's not wearing his astronaut suit because he's out of this world already and he's continuing to soar more. And it's just so amazing to see these things. Having Carmichael's new journey, his new journey religiously, also internally within the family structure and everything. It's truly amazing to see that growth and change, because I remember from where it started to where it is now, and it is beyond a 180. If we could have a 720 be something real, it's exactly what's going on, going into the 900 to the 1280. It's just amazing to see how the every revolution he comes around, it's a new person, and it's only building every single moment. And now to have Gary here, I'm getting to know him and to see his influence, his hold, his gifts, not just through him but through his daughter, and how she is growing. That's a real testament of a man and a father. A real person of influence is not just to see them, but to see their influence in somebody else, to see the fruits of their labor growing, and to see that has been truly, truly a blessing. And that's just where I'm at with. There's a lot of negativity that happened, but if you know me or if you know anything about me, you'll know I'm always going to say this. There's always a silver lining, and you can never appreciate the sunshine without the rain. So there's going to be rain, but I'm telling you right now, get through the storm. You're going to see that sunshine. Or like Steve Harvey said, if you're going through hell, why stop there?
Ho ho. Why stop there?
Ooh, here we go. Here we go, Gooch. You got me triggered.
Wow.
Like TD Jakes, shoot for the if you shoot for the moon and you pass the moon, where are you gonna end up? With the stars.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Here's one for you guys that has come to me from the last time we spoke, and more importantly this week. Discipline is the action of perfecting a discipline as disciple.
As disciple.
Because we're constantly learning. So it doesn't matter what you call the label.
Yeah.
You're always constantly learning. So you're a disciple. But to be a master is you have to become a disciple to that discipline. And that teaches you discipline.
There's old proverbs that say that if you're not learning anymore, then you're dead. You're dead in spirit. Water doesn't, when water stops moving, it gets stale, it grows fungus, it gets algae. No one wants to touch it, no one wants to drink it. It has to, in order for, it could be the cleanest of spring water, but it only stays clean if it stays in movement, if it stays in flow. And I've always been a firm believer. I feel that we're all saying it in different ways, that um I'm not old until I'm dead. That's it. I I'm only old when I've stopped breathing. Until then, I still have so much to learn, so much to do. There's never ever going to be this time or this moment in our lives where we feel, okay, I made it. I'm there. I'm done. I stopped learning. I stopped growing. I've attained it all. It's never going to be that. And if a person, and there's, we say that a young tree is easy to bend and easy to mold, and as it gets older, becomes a thick trunk, and that's unfortunate. So what I try to practice is, as I get older, to stay open-minded, to stay flexible, to stay moldable, ready to receive, not always preachy and teachy and telling someone. It's wonderful to share from my experience, and for someone to be able to take something from what I've shared. And not everything that I have to share is going to be pretty tied up in a nice little bow either. I think it's important for us to share the bad and the ugly as well, because we can all learn from that. But the point is, and going back to, you know, when you're you're going through hell, it's your choice whether you stay there. We're we all have gone through our sense of what hell is, and hell is defined by each individual. That's, I'll just leave that, to that. But but it's up to us to keep pushing and going through. If we my I'm very bad at memorizing quotes, so there's only one that I have come up with, and it's two words. I believe I've shared this with Z and with G Gary when he comes back. Oh, is he back? I think he's back. Yeah, there he is. It's now what? Now what? I use the example. You're driving in a car, the tire blows out. Now what? Do you scream and panic? Do you throw the wheel? Do you tell it? Start cursing everybody in the car? Do you get out and then you figure out, oh shoot, the tire. Now what do? You kick the tire. Now you have a busted toe and a flat tire, and you're on the side of the road and you're late. Now what? Now what? What is your now what? When you're going through hell, what is your now what? Do you look around? Do you complain? Do you start pointing fingers and blaming? No, your now what has got to be more positive than that. It has to be on an upswing. Otherwise, you go back to the car example, you ain't got nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You're still sitting there with the flat tire and a busted toe.
That's true.
That's definitely true. There was a sour look on your face.
Serious, because I ain't trying to have a busted toe. You sitting here. So anytime I hit a block or a stumble, or it could even be a loss of life. I've lost a few people in the last week, and it's horrible. But now what? I have crawled and cried, and then eventually I sit there and go, okay, now what? I can't just lay here. I can't just be crawling through the slums. That's not what anyone would expect of me. And many people are counting on me to get through my now what, so that I can shine and share my light. And I think that's really what, I'm sure we have we're connecting the dots. Yes, but we're also connecting the light here. Each of us brings a different illumination, which that's why I said this particular junction here is very unique. That's why we can lean on each other in times of need. I'm never going to be strong always. That's not the case. And many of you have caught me and my tears. So, and I'm thankful and I'm grateful for you being there for all of my now what's, and for sharing your lights, and there's much to be said about that.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Actually, because, in the spirit of connecting the dots, why don't we give our listeners and viewers a little rundown about who you are, what you do, Q? Because we've had Kid, we've had G on, and they've gotten to hear them speak extensively. So give us a little rundown.
Wow. I'm a little modest.
Whatever you're
Not
willing
tonight.
to share.
You need to be modest tonight. I want you to give your flowers to yourself, because we're going to give them to you as well. You need to talk about you and be honest, because you know what? This world needs to know who the real Q is.
I hope that whatever I share, it inspires someone who's listening, even if it's just one person. I was not aware of my gift sets as I was growing. I was a little boy singing everything, singing jingles, the commercials. I also would flip through channels and try to catch the beginning of shows and just sing the intros to those songs and never watch the show. I don't think I've ever really told anyone that, so even if it was a show, like I personally found the Dukes of Hazzard boring. But I could say, just the good old boys, I could come in and and I'd make it all the way to the end and then flip the channel, so I was doing that a lot. And it wasn't until I was vacuuming and singing, and someone, a family member, unplugged the vacuum and come in here and sing that for the family. And then everyone started crying. It was a Whitney Houston song. And they put me in choir from the church. That was at 8 years old. From there, I began actually working very young. I got into musical theater. I got my first paid job at 12 years old. I learned to dance from the older cousins and from just watching, of course, our legend Michael Jackson, and Bruce Leroy was my hero. So when he came on the scene with The Last Dragon, that was the first time I ever saw a man of color be idolized, and he looked like me and I felt like him. And I remember just watching the intro with him flipping and doing things. I said, I need to learn how to do that. I didn't have enough in my mind. I didn't have enough time to ask my parents to put me in classes. I got on the bed and just started jumping and landing on my neck. You know, when you're a kid, you're not thinking of insurance or injuries. So you just keep going until you make it over. Because the goal is to make it all the way over and onto your knees. Well, actually on your stomach first. Right, kid? And then it's your knees. And then eventually it's your feet. So that's how Kung Fu and music and dance started to merge together. In 6th grade, I jumped into I wanted money. So the incentive was this this dance contest in the 6th grade, and the grand prize was $100. I prepared a full-on routine to, I'm gonna date myself. It was to Rhythm Nation, and I was so inspired. I was like, man, all the Jacksons are talented. So I wanted to do something militant and strong and powerful. And I was one person. Someone went into my backpack and stole now I'm going to date myself again, stole my tape out of my backpack. So I couldn't even perform to that song. I figured the contest was over. I couldn't do it. And people were trying to convince me over and over, go up there, just do it anyway. Do your routine to a different song. I said, oh, you don't understand. Like, if you knew what Rhythm Nation was, you would know that I can't take Rhythm Nation and just put it to MC Light. It's not gonna work like that. So I said, nah. So anyway, long story long, I got up there and I just freestyled and I did every dance I could think of. And the testament to my performance, because we talk about the dancing. Yes, I did win the dance contest, but that's not the point. The point is that I knew that I had to entertain the crowd. And the only way to entertain the crowd was to believe in myself and to be confident. And I didn't know how to do that completely just yet. So I turned my back to the audience and I took a deep breath, because I knew I didn't want to start to the front and let them see my fear. So I took a deep breath. I had no idea what song was going to come on. And when it came on, I started finding the patterns in the music. And I turned around I was moving, backwards doing the scene. Then I turned around and did something. Then I started executing all the dances. Then I realized, oh shoot, I've been standing in this spot too long. I need to move stage left. So I moved stage left, entertain this side of the crowd. They're going crazy. Oh shoot, this side of the audience isn't getting enough love. I have to go over here. I need to bring myself center. I need to move back so that I could drive forward and do this walkover that I taught myself. Okay. From there, and this is where we're going to bounce to you, kid. From there, the 8th graders, they had there was 4 of them, and they had a full-on routine. They lost to me. I wouldn't say they lost the contest. They came in 2nd place. I was the cute little 6th grader. Well, one of them wanted to beat me up, and he did the whole classic. I swear, my life is so cinematic. He did the whole classic. I'm going to um, meet you after school and beat you up. So yeah, it was so cinematic.
Like 3 o'clock high.
Yeah, right. Yes, yeah, Cobra Kai. Seriously, I'm thinking, is he serious? Is this like a movie right now?
Cobra Kai. Yeah, go ahead.
I was scared though, because he was a big guy. He was big. He was tall. I remember he had checkers shaved into his head, like in a big old high top.
Like
and
Vans.
yeah, he just looked scary. He looked scary. And we met after school. There was another kid that I was sparring with, Sean Hashimoto, half black, half Japanese. We called him Jigga. We're still best friends now. He stood by my side when this dude was threatening us. And just like a movie, he was across the yard and he started running towards me. And this is when I can say I've ever ran towards danger. Instead of running away, because we were outside, I was in front of school, I could have ran home, I could have ran off the property. I started running towards him with no exact plan, but I knew I wasn't running away. I'm running towards him, he's running towards me. And I made up in my mind, maybe about 40 feet out, that he's probably going to try to do something with his upper body. I ran. I fell into the splits at the last minute and went crack right into his nuts. Just crack over
You're
my
the first
head.
Johnny Cage?
Bro.
Johnny Cage was black? What?
Bro, this is even before Mortal Kombat. So
Hey.
I don't even know where I grabbed that from. I went pow over my head comes Sean Hashimoto with a Liu Kang kick. So the dude literally went, whoop, he hunched over and then pow goes flying back. It was like boom, bam. He flies back. We were the campus heroes. Nobody messed with us. So now I'm singing. Now I'm dancing. Now I'm doing kung fu after school with this dude. I later on joined a performing arts school in high school, and that's where I started taking. It was all day. It started like 7, 8 in the morning until 5 p.m. I had to take African dance, Laotian dance, Indian dance, ballet, jazz, hip hop, Mexican folklore, film, and theater. I think that's all of them. And they rotated, of course, just like they rotated. I was in musicals. So that's where I started to have a smorgasbord of the arts, if you may. It was shortly after that I found Alice Performing Arts School in Oakland, California. I think at that point too, I was also working with a DJ, and that's how I met Gary. I was working with High Top, the High Top Posse. So all those that are in the Bay, they all know the High Top Posse is. He pulled me into his crew when he saw me dancing at a school dance. He hits me up and says, "Hey." First of all, he was very ambiguous. I didn't know who he was. Just he got my phone number from somebody and says, "Hey, how would you like to make money doing something you love?" That was the first time I heard that, and I'm only 16. I said, "Doing what?" He said, "Just getting on stage and just doing what you love, dancing, having a good time." I said, "And you pay me for that? Like not orchestrated and choreographed?" I said, "Wow, yeah." And I didn't even ask how much I get paid. He just said, "The more I get paid, the more you get paid." I said, "Well, let's get paid." Let's get paid. So I was doing that with him for a while before I met Gary and several others. When I met Gary, I was quite a hipster. I still am a hipster, but I was quite a hipster. I let him tell you that part of the story. But I went on to do the DJing thing. I got into musical theater in Sacramento. I found a lot of lead roles. When I was dancing with Gary, he had a great idea to put together an all-guy crew. I was terrified of the idea of competing in dancing hip hop. I love showcasing. I love performing, but the idea of competing, and I remember expressing to Gary, I said, I don't feel comfortable competing because I feel everything has to be perfect and I have to do it like this and it has to be in this whole this uniform situation, and I just like doing it. I just like freestyling. I wasn't choreographing much. I maybe for just for kicks and giggles, or for the BSU, the Black Student Union. I did join the Filipino Union too, in I did in high school. needless to say, Gary put together the crew. Well, he said, check this out. If I can get some guys together and we can do a rehearsal, would you at least show up? I said, oh yeah. If you can get the guys, some guys together, because it was just him and myself, I think. I didn't know Ryan or anyone else yet. I didn't know anyone else. He just said, if I can get them together. What I didn't know is how serious this fool was. Do you know that a week later, he hits me up, he says, so you coming through? I said, coming through to what? I was living in Concord and he was in Hayward. He says, come on through, man. We're gonna have practice today. I said, we who? Just come on through. Thinking, oh man, I gotta drive all the way to Hayward. No, we don't like that 880 traffic. So I'm like, oh man, I ain't trying to get on 880. I get all the way over to 580 to 880, get over there. He has 12 fools in the room. 12. That 12 of us went on to, and in that 12, Kid Carmichael was part of that, and it dwindled down from 12 to 7 to 5, and there was 5 of us ready to go to this competition. And boy, did we have that choreography in our bones. Any chance we had, we were doing the choreo. We would do the choreo to our music. If a song came on the radio, we would make it fit to another song just to drill it into our muscle memory. That's the type of go hard we had. Not, oh, okay, well, only when it's time to practice. No, we would be out eating and we'd get out in the parking lot, open the doors, turn on the music, and do our competition routine. This is before our first competition. The day of the competition, Jay, he was one of the 5th guys, and Kid were not able to make it to our first competition. I believe Kid had a prior arrangement that just overlapped. Is that right, Kid? You had
Right. Yeah.
you had you were in another group.
Yeah.
And you had a separate.
I was already booked. Yeah.
Yeah, it was already assigned, and you were trying to make it. So in your defense, you didn't necessarily flake. It just happened to be that way. The other dude, I shouldn't have said his name, but the other dude flat out flaked. He just didn't show up. Now what does that do to me? I'm like, oh no, there's 3 of us. Oh, I already know the formations is this. I'm freaking out. I don't know the choreo anymore. It escaped me. We're literally going on stage. I look at Ryan, because it was Ryan, Gary, and myself. Ryan, who you guys earlier said we'll have back on the show at another time. And I look over at Ryan and I said, Ryan, what's the first move? Didn't know the first move. We went on to win that competition. We soared off, went to Germany, competed. I came back. I was asked to teach. I was scared to teach. Each of these I'm sharing is because there was always fear in the way, and fear was my doing. I put fear there. I was scared to teach. I ended up teaching my first few classes. Before you know it, I became one of the most circulated names in teaching in Sacramento and Sacramento County. From there coming to the, drizzling down towards the end now. I was going down to LA for auditions. A friend said, hey, come in, do this audition with me. We're leaving tomorrow. Sure. We drove down to LA. It was for Shaka Khan. I went in there and I said, I'm just going to go in beast mode. And I did it. I booked it. The only thing was that I was not prepared to book it. I was just practicing auditioning. And when I booked it and they said, well, congratulations, you're going on a 50 spot performance spot tour with Shaka Khan, and rehearsals start on Monday. It was Friday. Rehearsals start on Monday. The first show is Friday at the Hollywood Bowl. I said, I have classes I teach on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And you're talking about rehearsals. Ooh. And the choreographer looks at all of us that were remaining and says, does anyone have any conflicts? And then I was biting my lip, and I'm sure my body language was giving me away, because he looks at me, Tony Michaels. He looks at me. Tony Michaels is known for choreographing for like Pink, TLC, NSYNC, and a few others. And I was like, he says, Q. I said, can I talk to you, like, after? I told him my situation. He worked me in. I got some subs. I did the tour. I continued to dance, but there was always this thing of I'm either singing or I'm dancing. I'm singing, I'm dancing, and I think that's where Omega was talking about, where, I was, he wanted to see me sing more. I never completely shelved one, but I was going full on one, and one was sitting dormant, and it would flip flop until I was doing musicals. Finally, now coming more present, I joined a production company that was based out of Canada. We've since performed in Canada, Germany, and now China. And that's where I've been living the last 4 years, singing, dancing, performing, and a creative director. I'm now also a creative director for a nonprofit organization that works with at-risk teens. And that's my story in a huge nutshell.
And only Q, you're the only person I know that is able to tell all of the grandiose things that you've done in that big of a nutshell. And like in that, like, yeah, like wow.
Do you mind if I ask some questions? 'Cause I want to learn about something.
Okay.
You went through the story, and it's important because as we connect the dots here, is what maintained your encouragement and your discipline?
Mm.
Because you spoke about a recent loss. However, that loss, I don't know what maintained your perseverance and your mindset, because there's a lot of options. This is pre-hyphy movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was that for you?
I knew I was better than average. And I knew that even though I wanted to say I'm dabbling in it, my passion was throbbing. And I could not see, I know it sounds cliche, but I really could not see my life existing without having art in it in some form or way. I always found crafty little ways to incorporate music or dance or martial arts into whatever I was doing, even if I didn't like it. For example, 6th grade, I had an assignment due first period, and I forgot because I was just lazy. And I was on my way to school, and someone said, "Who did you do your project? What are you going to do your presentation on?" I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I ran back home, ran in the house. Good thing I only lived like 10 minutes walking away. I ran in the house and I grabbed the first things that I could find: a towel, marbles, and mud mask, and something else, and I just threw it in my bag. Came to school, and when it was getting close to my time, I put mud mask on my face, wrapped a towel on my head like a turban, and came and sat on the desk. And I had no idea what I was going to do. And I knew that in order to get an A on this, I have to entertain the room and make the teacher forget what I'm really supposed to do. So it was and I remember just saying, what did I say? Edman Chichiban Gogo Chibani Ban Edman. And I didn't know what else to do after that, so I repeated it 2 more times. And then I started singing the theme song to Gummy Bears. I was just pulling stuff out of my ass, literally. I don't know how I knew the words. And I got the whole class of Gummy Bears bouncing here and there, and had nothing to do with nothing.
Yo, that's dope. That's dope. Improv.
So I knew
physical
that
discipline and talent all day.
It was just the talent was there. The discipline didn't really come until I got into performing arts school, and I had somebody on me, saying, do it like this, stay on it like that. And from there, like say when in the case where you brought up with my loss, it was dancing, music, singing became my drug, became my fix. So I turned to that. I found a studio here in Vegas when I just lost my stepmother and my grandmother within a 3-week period. I said, "Oh no, I can't just sit in this house and I can't And luckily the studio was there, and I went. It was a one of our homies from the Bay, Matt Guerrero. He was in he was with Greg Chapkus's crew and all that, and he was teaching. And he said, "Man, I'll guest you," and he started guesting me as a student, and my muscle memory was horrible. My stamina was crap, but I struggled and I pushed through it. And because I wasn't as great as I had used to be, I knew I had to come back. So my focus went into that instead of staying on, oh, woe is me. Oh, and that's what I used to pull myself out of the crack and to keep myself going. I started picking up instruments and figuring out new ways to channel my artistry, as well as the nonprofit organization, channeling, working with artists within that, and working with teens who are afflicted. So putting my energy towards something positive and not focusing on just my setbacks was how I really pulled through.
I obviously this is an open conversation. We can cut whatever we want to cut. I just want to say this because out of love for brothers here, it's we've all lost something in our life at very instrumental times in our life that have heightened our consciousness to be able to use our gifts, to be able to express ourselves. And I say that because some people can write, some people can speak, and they have those platforms, and some people perform. And whatever you all are going through, I always feel like dance and movement has always been like the core essence where we can all come together and know, like, when we are dealing with a loss, when we're dealing with reflection, when we're dealing with humility with yourself, it really grounds us. And a lot of people look at it from the outside and say, oh, wow, this is just talent. It's just a perspective. This is, just a trend or a nuance of something that is, it's not. Like, you guys have all established movements of life around the world. And it's not something that's just uniquely yours. I think it's something collectively we've all been able to find each other and to know, like, whatever losses we've gone through in our generations, our quote unquote ancestors and our masters and our teachers and people who've inspired us and encouraged us, has allowed us to, like, continue to express ourselves through movement. I think I know somewhat everybody's conversation. I could tap into it. I'm not going to tap into here, but it's deep, and I know that's where you guys pull all the time. And I ask because the discipline is some people look at it as a very programmatic educational point of view, but it's, we talked about this before, it was like the fight and the flight. And that's what Q was talking about earlier, is like, this is what you just have to do. But it's also about your soul. We talked about soul. Like, how do you distinguish between your creative and logical brain? More or less, your emotional and your mental side of yourself. And, all I say to you guys is, you guys have always been healthy, and you guys have always studied the craft and maintained discipline with each, with yourself uniquely, as well as creatively and collectively as a crew. It's just so interesting because we never shared time with each other until now. And I just want to share that because I think you guys can all take a piece from this, because at some point in the last 20 years, I've had this conversation with you guys.
I think you're the only man in America that has actually sung the Gummy Bear song in class and got away with it.
I still don't know how I got an A. I don't even know what I wish, like, what would make this even funnier would be to know what the subject was, but apparently I didn't know then, and I still don't know how.
I know exactly how you got the A. Okay, I know exactly how you got the A. Look, okay, this is how I know. Okay, so you want story time? Here we go.
Oh boy,
Mr. Q. Okay,
I'm mute.
Back in the day, I didn't know him as Q. I knew him as Rashad, Mohammed, Tahan, Akbar, whatever, however many names you can put on a license. Okay. I believe it's 7. That's when I knew him. and I still love him to this day. Like nothing's changed. So I would call. We had beepers at the time. For y'all kids who don't know what I'm talking about, look them up. Okay, pagers. Okay, and Mr. Q would page me at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. My phone would go off, and it would be like where it said storage full, and it'd be like a whole little thing I would have to read and break down and write down on a little piece of paper, try to write down all the words. And
Pager
okay,
codes.
okay, but he had he had a little bit of pocket, money in his pocket, so he had a pager where you could call and you could leave a message. Okay, that's baller status right there. Okay, now when you call, there's a message, and not only is there a message, but he sings a song in 4-part harmony, and the song is just incredible. Like I would have bought it on Spotify or iTunes. I could have bought it at Apple and put it as my ringtone. I could have. I'm not gonna sing it to you. I'm gonna let him sing it to you because I don't have pipes like that. But it's amazing.
What he's talking about is, your outgoing greeting where thank you for calling, sorry I'm not here, leave a message at the beep. I could never be that generic. So there's a particular greeting that he remembers very distinctively. And what I would do, the trick was, and I never really told anyone, I had a stereo player and I had a karaoke machine. So I would record my voice into one, then play it back and then harmonize with myself and record it, then play the two back and then harmonize and then create a third part, and then play it back and then put a fourth part. Now, as you're doing this, the quality is diminishing. So I have to keep like tweaking the sounds because obviously this is before GarageBand. This is in my own garage. So I'm tweaking it and making sure it's all level. And then when I had it, I mastered first 2 and 3 parts, but when I got that fourth part down, I was able to do a lead over myself. So there's this one he remembers. I would say, "You dial my number, but I'm not home. If you think you're the only one, guess what? You're not alone. So take this time out and do me a favor. Leave a message at the beep, and I'll try to call you later." So that was one. And under it, I was going, ooh, ooh, ooh. I was doing some oohs and ahs. And
He was trying to be shy before they were shy. Okay.
I
was trying to give you that. He was trying to give you that whole thing.
Did you say you're shy?
Okay, now remember what I told you. This is all on a pager message. Okay, you would call, and the first thing you would hear was, "You dial my number," and you're like, "For real?" Did I call Rashad Q, or did I call like a stripper hotline? Because this sounds nothing.
I said, man, these kids crack me up with sitting around. I hear people, I'm bored. I'm like, do you know what I did when I was bored?
Kenny Riley.
I was doing medleys. My cousin remembers. I'm gonna do one other one. And the only reason why I even remember these to this day is because these fools hit me up saying, "When are you gonna do it again? Like, put it back." So for those that are listening and watching, you hear all these names flying out. They're all my names. The only one they haven't mentioned was my very first name. So I have to put myself on blast now for the sake of this, because I did there's no way I could do it now as one person, but I did a whole, how what's that angels we glow, and it's all layered and it's doing the weaving thing. So I did that with my name. I said Patrick Tahano Rashad and it came in, Patrick Tahanora, he is not home. So at the, please leave your name and he'll get back to you. And just when you thought it was over, I came in, you.
Skytel 101.
Whole
Pagers.
concert.
Metro call.
Right. Heaven forbid it was an emergency and you really needed to get a hold of me. My dad was so fed up. He was like, man, I'm just trying to, I have to listen to a whole concert. How do I just get to the beat? I just want to leave a message. No, frustrated, not even laughing. Man, you got me up here. I got to sit there a whole 2 minutes listening to you. I could go call him right now. He remember. I said, Dad, all you got to look, let me ask you, I'm not even going to tell you. What do you want? What do you hit on the phone if you want to bypass all that drama?
Pound.
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
I'm like, Dad, just hit pound. He like, man, I wish I knew that like a year ago. You got me listening to your concerts. And I just want to ask you to pick up some milk from the store.
See, now I know how you got the A. See? Now you know how he got the A.
Lord. I'm always accused of doing the most, being the most, and that just follows me. Yeah. So
I'll give you another story of being the most, okay?
Oh,
I got married.
Oh,
and have you ever known a gentleman to come in and do 5 costume changes at a wedding?
And he's not the groom?
And he's not the groom. 5 costume changes at my wedding.
It was
because he felt like he could do that. You know, that's his style. That's what he does. And I would not have it any other way. Any other way.
I plead the fifth. I just leave it
I
at
have a
that.
Q story.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, it's not the first time we met, but I remember the first time I really I think I was like, yeah, no, this is just who Q is. And like, he is the most, like you say, you do the most. He is the most. Like anything you do you do it fully. I feel like that's what we're capturing here. Is what we're saying is like everything you do it fully. The phrase "don't half-ass it, whole-ass it," you live it. Like you whole-ass that. I remember one day we had a gig. I think we were doing a mitzvah, and it was on top of one of these random buildings in Oakland. And I remember we all got there early, everything like that, but look around, Q's not here yet. Oh, I guess Q's driving up from LA. All right,
The Kaiser building.
Yes, the Kaiser building. And I remember he finally shows up and he's not dressed at all. And I think we were like 15 minutes from having to like do cocktail hour. He's not dressed. And I look over and I'm like, oh, all right, I'm talking with you. I'm like, hey, where's your stuff? He's like, oh man, it's in the car. And I was like, oh, okay. You want me to come with you to go get it? He's like, yeah. And so we're talking, and we're like, all right, let's hurry up and go get the stuff and get back up. We get down there. I think we're gonna go grab, a suitcase or 2 or something and go, bring it up into like the bathroom for him to change and get ready and go. And no, we're dropping trowel right in the parking garage. And like I like, and he's explaining this entire story to me as he's like getting dressed, not caring about anybody else who's around, whatever's happening. He's like, all right, gotta get in my suit. Cause I'm like, are we gonna go? We have to get back up there. Like, what? Why are we not taking stuff and going? And like, I'm thinking this the whole time, and I'm seeing him just like, I'm like, wait, is he getting dressed right here? And I was like, well, I guess okay. And like, sure enough, and as he's like pulling out, like the best part of it too was like, when I say he showed up not like dressed and ready, it's like it looked relaxed. It looked like you'd just been driving 7 hours because you probably just been driving 7 hours. And so like you get out and like you pull out all the stuff, and one is like this really nice silky shirt. I was like, what? All right. And then you get all these like little garments and things, and you're just a piece after piece is coming out, and I'm just like, yeah, yeah, that's that's cute.
Sleeves, chains,
Sleeves, chains, rings, fingerless gloves, like
finger armor.
a wallet that didn't have money in it just because he wanted the chain that went to the pocket. Like,
Okay, I feel you. Okay, now I know all of these episodes. I know every single one of these episodes. I've been in every single one of these episodes that you're talking about. Oh my goodness. Now, the episode I'm going to hit you with is the very first time I danced with Q.
I'm hitting mute.
Okay. The very first time I got hired to dance with the same DJ again, like Q was saying, and he said, "Hey, yeah, come to this dance and help us set up, and you'll dance, and I'll give you some money at the end of the night." I was like, "Yes, cool, I'm with it." So yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be dancing with Q." I was like, "Okay, whoever that is, all right, cool, I'm with it." Right there, and so I'm looking for him, and this is a pretty nice little venue that we're doing it. It's a nice little dance, and I'm noticing there's a gentleman setting up by the speakers, and his hair is in a ponytail, but the ponytail goes like this, and it probably stands about this tall. And I was like, "Whoa, is that his real hair?" And it, like I said, and it was like little things all the way up to hold it all the way up to the top of his head. And he was dressed in a Bruce Lee outfit, white shirt with the black pants, Bruce Lee outfit. And not only was he doing that, he was setting up while spinning those little magic silver balls that for calmness. Okay, that you circle in your hand. Okay, and I was like, I'm gonna be best friends with this man for the rest of my life. I swear to God. Because not only did he look over at me, but he looked over at me like this and said, "So you're here to dance?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm here to dance, dog. I'm here to dance. Yep. Would you need help setting up the speaker? Do you want me to take this light, tape it up?" "Yes, I sure would." So I knew it was a match made in heaven right there. I knew. And again, like I said, he's been one of my best friends, one of my brothers to this day. I don't forget things like this. These are things that are burnt in my brain. You can't forget everything. Like I knew I was gonna be friends with him because we all took a Disneyland trip together, and him and Rye Dog, okay, the other gentleman that's part of our crew, okay, that were walking down Main Street in Disneyland having a conversation in a different language that didn't exist. They were talking their own language. Not only they were talking their own language, they decided they were gonna like laugh at each other's jokes in this language, and then try to talk to other people in this language, and then order food in this language, all at Disneyland, okay, in the middle of thousands of people, okay, and people are looking at us like, what are they speaking? Like, does anybody know this language? No? Yes? Maybe? And you would think that they spoke this language from the time they were born. Like, that's how good the playing off of each other was. Like, they had this conversation full on, dead on, like, no joke. Like, and that's how I knew these guys were going to be around for a long time with me, because the connection was just so tight. Like you didn't blink and they were on it. You know what I mean? Like these guys had it. They were playing off each other so well that you were just like, you know what? They're having their own conversation in their own world right now. They understand exactly what they're talking about, even though they have no clue what they're saying.
G, I have to jump in and connect the dots to bring Z, Omega, and Kid so that they can add a share to this, because you use the phrase, and it's something I had been labeled as, but I know we've all done it. They have labeled me as the king of playing it off. Now, we all know that in live performance, there are no redos, there are no recaps. You mess up and you have to play it off. So there's a video, we were in Disneyland, I think it was like Tomorrowland, but we were outside of it. And I had just, no, it had been a while since I had done an aerial. And I was doing like they're playing the outside court music, all the Disney princessy kind of music, classical. So we were doing like this waltz and all this stuff, myself and Gary and Ryan and Sarah, who's Gary's wife, laughing and giggling in the background. And I went to do an aerial, and in my mind, it was supposed to be a perfect landing. But seeing how I didn't land it and the camera was on me, I made it all the way over, but I'm not on my feet, so I'm down on my knees, and I look up into the camera and I just say, "Play it off," and then I just roll into like some other stream. So my question for you, and I'm going to start with Omega, and then I would love to hear Kid, and then Z, and then of course G. Okay, in that order. Name a time that the first time, because I'm sure there's 700, maybe 70. Name a time that pops out in your mind where you've had to play it off in live performance. Go.
Live performance or just life? Because
well, I'd say connect the dots however you see fit, but you got to choose one so everyone has a chance to share one.
Peep game. Check this out. Okay. It was in, okay, you said performance, so I'll stick with performance. All right, so I did a tournament in Reno, and it was with the demo team. We had to go out there, and we were the special guests, right? So they had this whole tournament, and we were supposed to be performing, so that's what I did. And then as I was competing, I had to do an open four. So I did an open four. Now, mind you, I'm used to competing on different types of floors and everything, but this time, this floor was super dirty. And I mean gym floor dirty, right? So I do my thing and I'm competing. I do a butterfly twist, chop, spin, chop, punch, boom. And I land in a front stance. I thought I landed in a front stance. And I kept on gliding because the floor was so dirty and I didn't plant and I slipped and fell in a front stance.
Oof.
So I do this whole performance or whatever, right? So I get up, finish it, still kill it, make second place. All right. Now, this is the connection part. Fast forward months later. I'm with my teammates and we're going into this apartment in Santa Clara to go see our homie Peter Yang. And I walk in, right? And I walk in, I'm just like looking around for a second and I see this TV. I'm like, what the hell? That's me on the TV. Wait, that's my form from Reno. What the hell? And then I hear, how the bleep do you fall in a front stance? This is ridiculous. This guy's whack. I look, and this is a little Asian dude with a mustache, the whole Fu Manchu mustache, a t-shirt wrapped around his head and some shades and a white bandana wrapped around his wrist. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Who cares who this guy thinks? I'm like, he don't know. Come to find out, this is Kid Carmichael Simon. This is the guy that I used to grow up watching on television. Realizing he is watching me do a terrible falling performance on television in his own place because I was at his house and I didn't know. And he is ripping me to shreds on television.
On a kickball chain.
Yeah.
Talk about connect the dots. Wow, that was a good story. That was a good share. All right, Kid, you're next, then Z. Before we get to Kid's story and share, is there somewhere where we or even the listeners could go to watch some of those demos, or are they posted anywhere? you want to?
Yeah, if you guys can look up the Ernie Reyes World Action Team or
Okay.
the Next Generation, that specific performance that I'm talking about that I fell. Nah, I hope it's not in existence anymore. But yeah, you can definitely check out the Ernie Reyes World Action Team or the Next Generation.
Okay.
So that's it. You can see those.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, one of the most illest performances that they did, and it was actually on national television, was for the
The Snipes, martial
yes,
arts,
the Western States martial
masters
arts
of the
match.
martial arts.
Yeah, that was probably one of the illest shows ever, and you guys could only you won't even get the full brunt of it because they had to cut it up and edit it. But it was still like one of the illest shows ever, and I was not there. I wasn't even on the team yet. But when I watched that, I was like, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do that. You watch.
Wow.
And it happened. And I got to travel the world with this team.
One more time, what was it called?
Ernie Reyes World Action Team.
Ernie Reyes World Action Team. What year was it that you that all that happened for you? Oh, when the falling in the front stand.
2000, like 99 to no, like 2000.
Okay, and you said it was the Reno one.
Yeah, you're not gonna find it, so you can keep trying. But you're not gonna find it. You're not gonna find it. You'll find my other performances, but you're not gonna find that for sure.
Kid, you're up. What's the time you've had to play something off in performance or in life or both?
I've made a lot of mistakes dancing, quite honestly. I mean, I really have. Like, my counts were off. And what I mean by that is, we're dealing with freestylers who had to learn to count. You know what I mean? Then somebody who had to do performance of martial arts such as techno tracks, which is 160 beats a minute. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, you know what I mean? Like, I grew up dancing house in the East Coast, and so it's like hip hop for me didn't really, my 8 count didn't come into existence into the Bay, into Alice Arts. You know what I'm saying? But the groove has always been there. But I could say, like, mistake wise, man, like, I made a lot of mistakes. Like, I could take my best performances and let you all know, like, there's a lot of mistakes in my performances. But anything like drastic it's undocumented. Thank God.
That's still a testament, though, for anyone listening, even for us in the circle, that every performance you've made, there has been, let's not call them mistakes, but there's been whether it's a glitch or an error or a blip, and what one can take from that is you see it all the way through. We've all seen amateur performers do something, mess up, and go, oh no, and they freak out and they're looking around for some type of a pat on the back or reassurance that it's going to be okay, but there's no time for that. I remember a previous podcast you guys had that I think, well, all three of you were talking about when you perform, you're transcendent. You're in a different space. You don't see what's in front of you. You're in a different. There's nothing around you is normal. You don't see the lights. You don't see the crowd. You're in the zone, right? What did you call it? You had a name for it. I forget what you called it.
Flow.
Enlightenment.
Was it enlightenment?
It was enlightenment.
That space.
When you're for us, yeah.
When you're there, there's no room for oopsies. The oopsies may happen, but it's a matter of, and it's a classic term, it's how you recover. That's important. I think every teacher of movement of any form, teaches, or in art, it's how you recover. People, or how you end it. People may have heard your voice crack or seen you slip, but it's how you bounce out of that. So yeah, that's still a great share, kid.
And create jazz.
Yeah, right. Yeah, jazz music. When you hit a bad note, you find a way to turn that bad note into a passing note. And that passing note then carries you into something transcendent. And those that master it never hit bad notes. They just go, oh, Happy birthday to you. It's because to you. I did that on purpose.
And East
I know.
Coast versus West Coast training too. I mean, just coming from the East Coast,
Mm,
it's a very technical place. Everything's very technical. It's very Wall Street-ish. But when you're in the Bay, it's collaboration. It is about creative expression, and you guys freestyle very well. I mean, that is something that I've learned being in the Bay. As they would say, Oakland, taught me to hustle, but also taught me to freestyle.
right on, kid.
100%.
Z. Z then
um Me, well, actually, like as y'all was sharing, I was pondering on mine, and I'm like, I feel like so something for me. I have what you call, it's a form of tendonitis called Osgood-Schlatter. It's where you get extra bone growth, just below your patella, and so it in that time of puberty and growth spurts and whatnot, that'll be growing at the same time, and it can cause a lot of pain. It can cause your knee to unlock. um and so for me, like, even the slightest little tap on it would like send me into excruciating pain. I remember there were times where I was walking around, on campus, and I'd be walking, and all of a sudden I would just like fall out of nowhere, and like because I couldn't like flex the tendon, I couldn't flex the muscle, nothing that would save me there in that moment, and I ended up, so every time it would happen, I just knew that it was coming. And in when it would happen, I was like, you know what? I don't want to just fall down and look stupid in front of people. I'm gonna use this to my advantage. So whenever it would happen, I would just pop down, plant my hand, and push me right back up, and I'd come back up, and people like, you just bust a dance move randomly. And I'm like, hey, gotta get in practice where you can, and I would just keep going, and and like, hey, and so like
Hey.
I I I eventually just integrated that into my style,
Mm,
because I mean, everything that I would do, because I realized that was just a part of like my movement. As much as I want to place my foot there and be there, maybe I'm not going to be like that. So what did I decide to do? If I trip up, if I fall or what have you, it's now integrated into my style of dancing. It's the, what do you call it, the drunken boxing, as the way I feel about it. Like, like, it's just like I'm into it, whatever pops up. Like, I love those moments where I do something I wasn't expecting, that was
amen.
different from from what I planned. Like, I had planned to go out during I think it was one of our live performances for Choo Choo Soul. Like, we go out, and we sometimes we have like freestyles or what have you, when we battle back and forth. And usually they're kind of the same. I say battle because it's just silly. And like, but I decided I was going to do something different, and me going to do something different, my foot catches on the stage, and like,
Mm-mm.
I think it just brings me to something else, and I was like, well, I guess this is what I'm doing, and like, I'll just roll with it because it's just a part of the energy flow. Is if I was meant to stop, I was probably meant to stop. Like, if I was going to try and execute that thing, I thought I might have messed up my knee, or I might have twisted my ankle, or I might have hurt myself worse, or it wouldn't have been as good as what came out naturally, and what just kind of flowed. But
Lay it all.
exactly. So it was funny that you asked that question, because I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that's just been that's my dance style. It's like,
Mm,
play it off,
lay it off.
freestyle and play it off.
Right on, man.
That also reminds me of when we did a mitzvah together, and he trips up and catapults forward towards the audience, and they're like, "Whoa!" Actual move that he did, but he tripped. They don't
Oh,
know that because he's that good. That's professionalism. That's how to know your surroundings and keep moving. And that's one of the things that made him very special is he knows how to catch himself and live in the moment and move on, and will make sure that the show goes on.
love it. There's so much, man. Like, of course, we could pull from each of these moments and go and expound. I really hope that those that are watching and listening are able to chew it and place value in it and pull from it where they can and see substance, because there's just so much in each of your shares and what you just said, Omega, in response to Z's. G, why don't you bring us home?
Okay, well, playing it off, I've been doing that for years because
Yeah.
I have these counterparts that I dance with: Q, Dog, Carmichael, Z. I haven't danced with Omega yet, but best believe it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But and a lot of the people that have been in the cruise and stuff like that, as our friend Beto or Nico that he goes by now, and just the number of names that have been in the group. Anyway, I've had to play it off for years because every time I've had to hit a dance floor with these guys, I really have to step my game up. Meaning playing it off, meaning I have to dance better than what I think I can because my counterparts are amazing. The guys that I dance with are amazing. Okay. And sometimes I watch them and I'm like, damn, that's my guy. Or I watch Carmichael do his thing, and and you're just like, man, that's my guy. And Dog, the way he feels his music and the way he combines his musicality with the lyrics and stuff like that is second to none. That's Dog. That's his thing. That's the way he puts his, thing together. So for me, like I said, playing off it, that's easy because I have to play it off to my counterparts. These guys are, like I said, dynamite. So when I'm out there and I'm doing my thing, I think what I know is I'm very good at knowing lyrics and knowing my music. So when I'm able to play it off with musicality, like acting while I'm dancing, I'm very good at that. So you can get a feel of how I feel on stage or how I'm feeling in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like we were saying earlier. Oh, I just saw Q do his move or whatever. I can't go over and be like, hey, do you remember how you did that? Because he's gonna be like, no, I wasn't here. I was in the music. I'm in the moment. So that's why I'm like, man, I really have to play it off sometimes because my guys are deep. My guys are strong. So yeah. And Rashad has, Q has the performance. Carmichael has everything, execution, pulling off everything. And the young lady you hear talking in the background is the young lady who directed all of us together. So that's why she has a lot to chime in on. She's the one who puts all these big heads together and be able to pull it off. You have to have a sensei coach type of person to do that for you. You know what I mean? And Miss Sarah is the one who definitely does that for us.
Shout out to Sarah.
Yeah.
Show.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love y'all.
See,
Yes, man.
So,
They're my babies, even though they're grown men.
Yep.
Who's your favorite ballerina?
That's right. Ballerino.
Who's your ballerino?
Ballerino.
What's his name?
For life.
Rasta.
Rasta. I love you, Rasta.
And it's funny because, okay, so let's connect the dots. Ready? So.
Wait, hold on. Can I cut? Hold on.
Yeah. By all means, Carmichael, go ahead.
See, Gooch. Thank you guys for embracing me in the Bay. For real, because you guys have taught me a lot. For real. So if I had to expose anything, it's the fact that you guys already had swag when I came from the East Coast to the West Coast and really showed me the culture. And that culture just has created, and I say this with all humility, is the groove, the Shaolin groove is Gooch. The concepts and the conversations are everybody else on this call.
Have you guys ever had Carmichael ask you what your purpose in life is? I'm serious. This is a serious, dead question. Have you ever had Kid Carmichael ask you what your quest is in life, what you do here?
We have been friends for 20 years now. I think it's safe for me to say yes. Multiple times. at
Right.
15, at 20, at 25, at 30, at 35.
Yes. And he finally asked me in a random phone call. He called me hella quick, talking about, "Hey, yo, G." I was like, "Whoa, you okay, bro? All right."
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, 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 yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm good.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
good.
yeah." He's
Yeah,
like, "Yo, you know what your purpose is in life?" Like, just off the cuff. And I was like, I had to not really think about it because I know what my purpose is here. And I tell Carmichael all this all the time. Q, Ryan, they've seen it because I teach dance, and my thing is photosynthesis. That's what I do. That's my purpose here on this life. I plant seeds and I watch them grow. That's what I do here in the dance world. I mean, because I can, like I said, I've taken kids who have never danced before in their life, taken a dance class, and by the end of the summer, they're ready to join a dance team, not knowing what that entails, being traveling to competitions every weekend, da 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 da, conventions and yada yada yada. But I know that that's what I can do. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to plant these seeds so they can come out of their shells and grow. And I've seen Rashad grow. I've seen Carmichael grow. I've seen Rod Dog grow. Beto Nico, our buddy, and I've seen all of them grow. And not just me, but the person that I share life with as well. We all help grow that photosynthesis. Definitely. Takes a village, most definitely. We say that all the time.
Absolutely.
And I hit up Shot about this about what 2 weeks ago too. On a cuff. I hit you up on Messenger. Same thing, man. Like you already know. You know, it's an important question to ask, especially the time you guys already spent time with each other.
It's interesting. In the spirit of connecting the dots. If you're listening at home, in the spirit of and connecting the dots, or you should probably make a drinking game out of it and take a shot every time we say it. I promise you will be drunk by the end of this episode. But it's funny because through each of you, I've learned, I would say, three really important things. I mean, like throughout, not even the individual conversations that we may have, but like even in this episode, in previous episodes. All right, I got three core things I've learned from y'all: is radical forgiveness, being present, and realizing you're enough, or I'm enough. And I want to say that because, like, it's interesting through all the conversations and episodes and things that I've had with Omega. One thing I've always pulled from him has been this sense of, like, even like just before we had the podcast, before we were we were doing that, we've had some hard times with people in our life. We may have worked with, been friends with, whatever. And one thing, like, doesn't matter how bad the situation gets, Omega always, you were able to forgive so gracefully.
That's deep. Forgive gracefully.
Forgive
Gracefully. That means it's not even intended
Absolutely.
for you, and it was given to you anyway.
That's hard to do.
Right.
That's hard to do.
And without
Very hard.
a stank at the end of it. Okay, fine, I forgive you.
Right.
Like it's a real forgiveness. It's from his heart, and not even just for other people,
Right.
but like for self as well.
I know we talked about loss a little earlier, and the hardest loss for me was losing Rye Dog and Carmichael. I lost them both for 10 years, and that was hard for me, but it was easy to forgive and forget. It was like that because the music and the dance brought us back regardless. Regardless of what was going on in life, we always had something we could share, something we could always come back to. The dance floor is what we share.
Yes. actually to continue on, like the from actually funny that you even say that, because like Gary bringing me right back to the present, like between you and Kid, like the idea of presence of mind, you know, being present, being in the moment. We've all said it this episode itself, is like being here now is important because we can only be here now. As much as we can create and manifest the future in our mind or remember the past, like the lessons I learned from y'all is yeah, like to be here now, to take hold of that presence. uh Actually, then and even I was gonna say for from Q, like like I was saying before, you know, don't half-ass it, whole ass it is kind of like the motto he embodies, but of being like modeling, knowing that you're enough, you know, like because if I haven't gotten anything else from hanging out with Q and, you know, calling my 20 and like like, you know, just, you know, really learning from anything, like if I haven't gotten anything else, it's that. It's because I see the way he interacts with the world, and just as graciously as Omega is forgive, you know, he's able to forgive, you know, Q is able to be completely who he is no matter the situation. I remember this I remember this Vegas trip, and we had mentioned before we started recording, but this Vegas trip we went on, and there was all these things that were kind of like happening on the outside, and we go out and we come back, and I just remember from the moment we got there, Q like I don't think, unless we were going out, I don't think you were out of the bathrobe that came with the penthouse. Like you were just in a robe, on the phone, sipping some sparkling bubbly, whatever it was, looking out the window, and just being himself. Whoever was on the phone, he was just thankful. It just looked like he was just thankful they were on the phone, and he was just like, I just am who I am, and you'll either love who I am or you'll hate it, and either way I don't care. Like, and it's just, I mean, that's as as G Foot. So you hate to
Freedom,
dance.
bro. That's beautiful. Freedom.
This one, I want to thank you guys for even having me tonight, and part of this conversation, and for us to connect the dots. This show wouldn't be a show for me, and I would not be me if I didn't have a costume change.
Yes. Yes, for those of you listening at home, Q has made his first infamous costume change mid-show. As I'm giving flowers, but also giving lessons, this was just like, hold up, give me a second. Just gonna whoop, 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 blam.
Okay, and just so you know, this wasn't planned. Okay, look, this is how much I love my guys. These were all Christmas presents to my guys. Something that stands for me is strictly for my ninjas. Okay, these are my homies. So it was something that I had to give them for Christmas. So that's the reason why we have these shirts. My crew, man. These are my crew. These I go to the grave with. You know what I mean? Shoot.
I miss that couch right there, though.
That's very important. All the connections that have been happening this evening is pretty amazing, and there's been a lot of key words that have been coming out and key phrases, and hopefully you guys out there that are listening or watching are able to catch these things that we've talked about. There's so many different things that each one of us bring to the table, not just for ourselves, but for the service of others. And that's the one thing I'm coming back to is the service of others. If you haven't noticed, every single person who has a gift is using that gift in the service of others, whether it is education, entertainment, planting the seed for growth, curating the future of others. The list goes on and on. And I really hope you guys pay attention and catch that. Bring it back to what is your gift? Because when you surround yourself with gifted people, you're going to be a gifted person as well. And it may not be a just because Q can sing doesn't mean and we're around him means we're all going to be able to sing. No, but he will influence our ear to hear music in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to pay attention to the evolution of your gift and how it's going to evolve around those others that are around you to pick up and heighten your gift and also give you the light and guidance that you need to shine on your gift and make it become its own.
Amen.
That's truth, bro. And I feel like that's experience that we all have here. Like we have a certain level of expectation, not just for each other, but what we expect from what we see out there, what influences us. And this is that's the encouragement we all bring to each other is, when we move on to the week, it comes back down to are they at least up to par with all of my other friends that I just had my conversation with on Monday night? And that's the level that's the level I put you guys at, and that's the level I expect for society with whatever circle I put myself into.
It's funny because during some of the spiritual growing and workshops and things that I'm doing, I have to have there was a homework assignment one night that told me, like to either write a letter to someone and like open up and be as authentic as possible or have a really deep conversation because it was it's talking about like what people are missing in their life and things like that. They're like, have a deep conversation, like find somebody that you can really open up with because we'll find that we like as creatures we really need these times where and places where we really feel like we can be authentically ourselves, unjudged and loved. And it's funny because I mean, apart from just this podcast, but these people that we get to have on here, like I feel lucky because they brought me to it. I'm like, oh, that's funny because I mean I'm gonna have a conversation in a couple of nights, like I very easily pick up the phone and call Omega and talk to him and and I just shoot a message out to Kid. I can call Gary, I can call Q. We can set up, like a time to like meet and dance on just like to just blow off steam, whatever it is. Like there's this community as Kid, as you were saying, like that we get to surround ourselves with and like get to grow. If you're a person, a being, working at a higher vibration of life, surrounded by other beings working at a higher vibration of life, you're only going to get higher together. you know
Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
You plant those seeds and let it grow. There's a lot of 4-letter words tonight: vibe and grow, time, safe. It's all important, man. I'll tell you one thing that we all share, though, regardless of where we come from and what industry and what maintains our passion, is we're all healing. We're all healing. And that's what it is. If you realize everybody's healing, you're going to have empathy and compassion for other people. It just depends on, how they're going to express it. You just got to guide them through their way. Like if you're a vocal person, just help them vocally without cursing. You know what I'm saying? Or if you need to dance and let off steam, then go dance. If you need to make music and if you need to sing and you got to let your testimony out and preach through word, do that too. But we're all healing, bro. If you think about it, every time we dance, all we're doing is healing. We're either healing ourselves self-consciously or we're healing a crowd or even hailing our own choreographer.
100%.
To watch your stuff come alive, it heals. To watch your form come alive,
Yes.
Creation.
it heals. It does.
Yeah.
There's a memory that will be forever burnt in my brain. I have these memories I told you with Q. There's another memory that's burnt in my brain with Carmichael. One of the very few times we first hung out, we were kicking in my little apartment, little 2-bedroom apartment in Hayward. I had just met the guy. I had just met Carmichael. And he's like, yeah, I do martial arts. I was like, yeah, okay, bro. Whatever he say. I didn't know who he was at that time. Like, I didn't know the level of WMAC Masters. That's my boy. Okay. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know Carmichael like that. I knew him as just a homie. You know what I mean? So comes to my house, we're kicking it, have a couple of drinks. I said, hey, show me something. Okay. This guy jumped up and kicked my roof.
Nah,
Kicked my roof.
I'll show you something.
Jumped up just right where we were standing, said, woof, bah, and kicked the roof. And had the little stucco stuff that's on the roof come down.
I'll show you an invoice where you can take care of the damages.
I was like, okay. Again, another moment. That's where I was like, okay, he's gonna be a friend of mine for the rest of my life. This fool say, okay, let me kick your roof real quick. Ow! And I said, that's a bad man.
Tear the roof off this mother. Tear the roof.
You know
Yep.
what's a bad? You know who's a bad man? Right there. Anthony's a bad man. We're doing a photo shoot, and we
Let's
must have
go.
been spaced like this close together. And we had to get this shot with Kato doing a kip up, me doing a jump kick, someone, Nigel puppeting, and we're doing and he's like, I'm gonna gain her. I was like, you're gonna gain her? There's 5 of us, like legitimately. This dude takes off. Perfect. Like perfect. He'll show you the picture. It's real talk.
Probably my
It's
favorite
real,
picture
bro.
I've ever taken.
That's say that one more time.
That's probably one of my most favorite pictures I've ever taken was that one.
Have you seen that picture, Z?
No. Omega has a lot of pictures
Man,
where he's
1,
upside down in the
2,
air.
he goes. 1, 2, he goes. 3, and we all go. He's catching on the 2. I'm like, man, I gotta find this picture, bro. Beast.
And on that note, I'd like to thank the Patreon. Everybody has been so supportive of the podcast. We truly appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for your patronage and also your support, supporting small businesses and giving us an opportunity to share not just our stories, but our experiences in order to better the world that we all are a part of and we live in. Because we are true believers in being the change that we wish to see and trying to spread nothing but love, peace, and harmony.
Ooh, and a question to our Discord. And for y'all brothers as well, if you want to go on to our Discord and answer this question, um, what are you learning? What life lessons are you learning from the people in your life? Take a moment to be present in that.
I'm going to answer because it's important for me to say the value of myself.
Mm.
That is what I have learned as of late is value of myself and trusting in myself and betting on myself because I've always put myself out for others and never did it for myself. Well, today, these last few weeks has been about self. And I'm saying this now to tell you guys, by the time this episode airs, I will have my own business. Catch These Hands Academy will be official on paper.
Hey,
because I'm betting on myself. And that's because you guys have helped me and pushed me and have guided me and have stuck by me. So I just want to say this right now. When this episode airs, you will be looking at a new business owner. And I'm proud of myself. And I'm betting on myself because I'm changing the world with one lesson at a time.
I'm trying to join Catch Those Hands. I live in Pleasanton. I'm trying to come back to my homie in the 408. Let's go.
Hey,
we're over here applauding. Hey, if you're just listening out there and you can't see us, we're applauding. We've just been placed on mute, but we were cheering. We were cheering and applauding, man. That's dope. That's very inspiring. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. And those of you listening, if you want to continue in this conversation outside of here, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at Have a Drink Cast, and make sure you use the hashtag HADcast. And if you decide to throw it up on your story anywhere, use the hashtag HADcast. If you want to answer your if you want to answer the Discord question there, feel free to do that as well. We appreciate y'all. And I can't stress this enough. I appreciate you, brothers, for hopping on this episode. Carmichael, G, Q. I mean, oh, it's always a pleasure having you on as the partner in crime. Like I appreciate y'all for being here, for sharing your knowledge. I know people have heard a plethora about each and every one of y'all, but Q, if people want to check you out, where can they find you? They want to slide into them DMs. I don't know.
before I promote myself, I must send a shout out to my organization, SOS, the number 4 life.org. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization raising awareness and money to raise the funds for therapy for at-risk teens. And again, that is SOS, the number 4 life.org. I am the creative director, and we're the only peer-to-peer group. That's what makes us very unique. So each of our people in our group, in our camp, they are teens and artists themselves who correspond and work with teens themselves. So that's that. And then as far as my social media is concerned, my Instagram is Q, my name, KIEU008. That happens to be my goofy TikTok that I haven't been like putting a lot of energy into it, but I have a lot of silly stuff already stored in my phone that just needs to go up. So that's that. And then of course you can find me on Facebook. But I usually gear that towards my close family and friends, and that's H.A.D Kieu Grisby. So thank you once again for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I love this bar.
Hey.
Man, we love having you.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, before we do wrap this up, because we do have to wrap up, I would like to give a shout out to the missus in the background, to the better half, the other half. I want to tell you thank you so much for your contributions to the conversation.
Yes, Sarah.
So I just want to say that I love all my boys, and dancer friends are the best friends, and we're for life. No matter what time and space and distance is in between us, friends always, friends forever, friends for life.
Even at 3 a.m?
Even at
3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
When I show up and call.
When I need ninjas to kick my roof and my neighbors are being mad, you know what I'm saying? I got folks like that.
Even 10 years of distance for Ride Dog.
Yeah.
Even plane trips for Carmichael. Even Beto, Nico O'Connor being in LA and all over the world. Even with you in China. My door is always open forever and always. And I'm so blessed to have known these gentlemen. And been a part of y'all's journey, no matter where you guys have been and ended up.
No matter what's happened, I've always made sure that I had an apartment to where my homies can come rest their heads wherever that they're at in life.
谢谢。
很好，很好。
Yeah, you mugs are welcome. Shut up. I know y'all talking different languages and this and that, but y'all know what it means. We love you. We love you.
And this time the language was real.
See, yes, the language. The language is real.
Sure. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10。
Oh!
Oh, 很好，很好。好。
Do they know? Hey Z, do they know that you speak little Mandarin?
Oh no, no. I don't think a lot of people know.
Well, there it is.
There you go. You got to hear a little bit of my Mandarin.
Omega, pues qué estás haciendo los todos? ¿Por qué? No, mira, los todos son. Mira, son hablando, pero no sabe qué será, son hablando. ¿Tú sabes?
Go ahead, let 'em-
What's that?
go ahead. They
Oh,
want they want to hear. We trilingual now.
First of all,
Yeah, we didn't mean it Tagalog
don't
in
be on the
yet.
spot like this.
Ryan did wah wah wee in the Philippines, huh?
Hitting the ocho ocho.
Ocho ocho.
Wow, wow.
Okay, so just a little quick note about Raw Dog. Raw Dog is a famous guy in Filipino. I feel like because
In
in the
Filipino.
Philippines, yeah,
In the
in the
Philippines?
Philippines, yeah,
Philippines.
yeah, in the Philippines.
In the
I feel like-
Americano cafe.
no, not here. Over there, yeah, but not here.
All right, gentlemen, it's about that time. All right, raise your glasses, grab your glasses. All right, kings, queens, and royals in between. I want to thank y'all for joining us on another successful episode of the Have a Drink podcast, and we invite y'all back to sit, think, and have a drink. That's been us. Peace.
Peace.